Hey, it's After the Gig, and I'm Jesse Humphrey, and today on the show, I have the wonderful Tim Lappin. So Tim and I are going to talk about his new album that's going to be coming out under the name Casual Male. So that's his band name, so it's kind of like Tim's solo thing and his whole project and everything. But we're going to sit down, we're going to talk about it, and it's awesome. So it's not out yet. We'll talk about his release strategy and all that great stuff and everything that he has to talk about with Casual Male and everything that's coming up for them with the album release. If you're new to the show, welcome to After the Gig. I have a newsletter that I release every Sunday. I will put the link down below, and I'd love for you to be a part of that email list. I think you'll get a lot out of it. So without further ado, here's Tim Lappin.
There is something about that I've realized with like you putting your song out, things will come to you that never would have come to you otherwise. And like I really believe in that, and it might not look the way you think it does. And I'll use like how I know you for an example of like we met doing this recording session, very random recording session, and it was because they heard the Casual Male stuff and they liked it. And that's, so it wasn't like I got a Casual Male gig necessarily from that, but
Right.
somebody heard it and liked it, and it led to other stuff. So I really believe in that thing of like putting the thing out, the song, whatever. It just, I don't know, brings other stuff into your life that you wouldn't have otherwise. And
Yep.
that's something that's really important to me about putting this record out. Cause I had like kind of like a mental block. I thought, I'm so naive. I've been doing this forever. And I still think like, I made something really good. I think like people are going to really like care. And it's just, nobody cares as much as you care.
Right.
And so I kind of hit this like wall trying to like figure out how to put it out, and like thinking people were like, oh yeah, well, we'll help you put it out. And
Yeah.
it kind of like created this like, well, like maybe it's not that good and maybe I just shouldn't care or put it out. And then, eventually it's like, you just got to do it. Just got to do it. Come up with a
Right.
plan. It'll be fine. And now that I've switched the mindset again, it's like, all right, you're going to do it. Things will come from it. Whatever comes from it, great. Give it
Right.
its due, give it its time. And that's what I'm trying to do with it at this point.
I think that's smart. I mean, another thing I'll say about that thing in particular is like you're not trying to reach everyone. You're not trying to put your music out there and just hope the world grabs a hold of it. What you're trying to do is put some music out there and see and find your people. You find
Yeah.
your audience, and people that kind of like, don't listen to it, don't share or whatever. There's plenty of other people. you know,
Yeah.
there's your people, your audience out there that will dig it, and you have to like cater to those people as like they're everything to you. And then
Yeah.
anyone outside of that is just outside of that. They go like whatever they like, and that's great. You just have to find your people.
I think you're right. And I think it's also just like the music industry. I mean, whatever, but it has become a thing of like every artist is kind of like a niche artist,
Mm-hmm.
and
Sure.
there is an audience for you. Um, and you're right. You just got to kind of find it and cultivate it and then really work with that audience. Cause yeah, you're not, there's Taylor Swift and then that, Beyonce and then everybody else, but
Right.
like, that's okay. And I think I've talked to people who are doing well, and they're like, yeah, I really cultivate the audience I have. I don't worry about the everything outside of that, because that's just not a realistic and tenable way to
You're just gonna bang
continue.
your head. You're just gonna bang your head against the wall. Like
Yeah.
you're just setting yourself. Anybody that does anything like that expects like, oh my, I showed it to my parents and they liked it, but then, you know, but then like three random people that I met at a bar, like they won't share it. Like it's like that doesn't make
Yeah,
any sense. You
I
know,
know.
you put it out there and somebody will say like, "Oh man, that one song I really was into." And they go like, "That's awesome. Thank you so much for liking that. Here,
Yeah.
do you want to sign up for my email list? I'd love to have you come out to the next show." And it's like one at a time, you know?
Yeah. Old school,
That's
like
how it goes.
yeah, it's like DIY via TikTok or something,
Yeah.
like reading about those old like punk bands in the 80s and like, just doing those tours over and over again. And each time you come through, you play to 10, then 12 and 14 people kind of thing. And
Right.
you're kind of doing that, but like on social media and stuff.
Right.
So
Yeah, and the important thing is like now I tell people all the time like you have to like engage with people. You can't just put it out there, let them comment and then just let it go. You have to like actually talk, like involve yourself and talk
yeah,
to people. Like the time of just releasing something or going to play a show and just sitting back in the green room and not going out and engaging and talking and finding those people is over. You're
yeah,
not gonna do anything if you don't put that time into it, because it's part of your job. You know, it's a part of the release of music. It's a part of the playing shows and everything. Like, you know,
Y-
when Carbon Leaf would play shows during the pandemic, it was a big bummer that we couldn't go out and actually talk to people, because that was part of the charm is people
right.
coming and hanging out with us after the show and connecting on a personal level, telling us about the songs they like. You know, it's you get so much out of that and they get so much out of it too. So,
Well,
you know.
feel like you guys have a really kind of like devoted fan base,
Oh yeah, for
like,
sure.
and like that is definitely part of it. It's like they feel like they have access to you, and
Yeah.
I mean, I only know you personally, but I feel like you're very open to like sharing that access and like sharing stuff with fans and like
Yeah.
bringing them into the green room and the backstage and all that kind of stuff. And yeah, I think you're right that like the wall being up between the artist and the audience isn't really there anymore. And if people like you, that's good. Like it
Right.
only helps you if people kind of rooting for you or
Right.
like you as a person. So I
Right.
think you're absolutely right. I'm not going to do any of that, but yeah, I think you're right. No, I'm just kidding. I'll do.
I think you're right. I'm totally unlikable, but you
Nah,
know.
yeah, no. I mean, I wish I could do that. Wish people.
You think I'm going to hang out with those people?
Ah, dude, they're not going to talk to me. They won't talk to me. But yeah, I think you're right, and it's important to remember, like, yeah, not everyone's going to like it. Maybe
Yeah,
find a few people who do, and
and that's cool.
and
Liam
those.
Gallagher, Liam Gallagher said it best. He was like, "Buy if you want to buy. If you don't, fuck off." You know, that's it.
And Liam Gallagher being like the epitome of approachable fan first
Super.
musician.
Yep.
Yeah, just he's the guy who's coming out. Um, I saw a really funny thing with him, like talking to a group of kids. Did you see this? He's like
No.
doing a Q&A with a bunch of like young kids. It's so funny.
Oh my
Um,
god. Is that on YouTube? I imagine it's on
yeah,
YouTube.
I'll find it. I'll send it to you. But
I saw another
he,
one with him where he was like making his own tea backstage. He
oh
goes,
yes,
"You saw that one?"
yeah, yeah,
It's
yeah,
like,
yeah,
I used to have 4 or 5 people doing this,
yeah,
but you know, the bills are tight.
yeah.
People aren't buying
It
records anymore.
there used to be a Gaffer here, used to be a guy here. Now do it yourself. It's fucked.
now you now you wonder why there ain't no rock and roll stars anymore.
Yeah, exactly. Because we have to do shit like this. It's
Yeah,
fucking good.
he's right. He's totally right.
Uh,
I don't want to do any of that stuff.
but make your me neither.
No, no.
I just spill coffee on myself.
You're having a tough time over there.
Might
Was
just
it
roll with it.
coffee you dropped or was it okay?
It was coffee. Yeah, it was like
Yeah.
a canned coffee thing. And the problem in thinking about it now is I did drop it earlier, so that's on me. That's my bad. I messed up.
Do you have a favorite song on the album?
I don't have a favorite. I guess maybe like
I don't like any of them.
I don't like it. I don't like what I made at all. No, I think for me, "Help Me," which I think is the third track,
That's
is
help me please. Da, da, da,
yeah,
da, da. Yeah,
exactly.
that's a good one. That's a good one.
Thanks. That's one where like I feel like all the songs. I'm sure you can relate to this, but for every song I write that I like, I probably write 20 that I think are absolute garbage.
Oh, yeah.
Um,
I think that's
and
pretty normal. That's
yeah,
probably
right.
actually
That's my
it's probably a pretty good percentage of good
yeah,
songs to bad songs.
yeah. Maybe it's even higher. The ratio is not great for me. And "Help Me" is one of those ones. And I think actually why the record does mean a lot to me is like it is the culmination of all those songs that I've ever written, really, that are the ones that like each one kind of had a moment. And I wrote that one. I would go down to the Jersey Shore. Like a lot of this record for me is about, like I wrote a lot of this while I would be surfing.
Okay.
Like like kind of in a meditative thing. Like I would go down to the beach for a week and like bring all my gear, and I'd just go surf and then like get ideas in my head and then come back and like try and flesh them out and then like kind of rinse and repeat. And I would do that for like a week, and a lot of the songs on the record were written like that. And "Help Me" was one that like I had that hook, and it came together on one of these times. And like it was one of those songs where when it was finished, I was just like so elated and so happy and like proud of myself that I had even made that. And which is, I don't know if it's conceited to say, but just like, when you make something that you really like and you're like, I can't believe I made that.
Yeah.
That one was that for me, of kind of like, I think I was driving home and listening to it and just like almost crying, like being like, oh man, like, because I think a lot of the time you write those 20 crappy songs and you're like, I suck at this. Like, I really am very, very bad at writing songs. And then that happens and you're just like, oh, like it's just life giving.
Hmm.
So that one, like, I just have always had this, and I kind of wrote it. I was with my brother. We've grown up surfing together, and I was down at the shore with him having lunch, and he was going through like a little bit of a rough time with work and stuff, and like he's got two kids, and he's just like the epitome of a good person in my eyes, and just telling me about like kind of this rough period. And I don't know, so I kind of like was thinking about him a lot while I was
Mm.
wrote that song. So it has like a special place for me in my heart. And then the last song on the record, just called "Everybody Knows," which is the last song I wrote for the record, because I needed like one more, and I kind of wanted to write like a slow rocker.
Yeah.
And it's funny because it's the 10th song. Like I feel like it'll probably be the one that most people will not hear eventually, but
Well, that's
that
why you got
was
to release them one at a time so they
I
do
know,
hear
I know. Well, maybe I'll rethink this whole thing here.
it. Let me push this back
Ah,
about 17
crap.
months.
Yeah, 2 more years.
No, no, no,
But
no.
that one, for me, just kind of like came out of like kind of a more vulnerable and emotional place.
Hmm.
And kind of, I right before the pandemic, a very long relationship I had been in ended, and hadn't really written any songs about it, and wrote a lot of bad songs about it, maybe, that just kind of like were like getting gunk out. And then that was like the first time I actually tried to like consciously write about it. And it's kind of like the lyric in the chorus, it's a little silly, but like the lyric is throw the paint on the primer and carry on. And I was just thinking about like there was the period after this person moved out, and I was like in the apartment alone. They had taken like half the stuff, and you're like, I had to go to IKEA and like buy new things, and you're like
Hmm.
putting together IKEA furniture, and like you just had done the primer, like I'm going to repaint all the walls. I put the primer on, and like now I got to paint. I'm like putting this IKEA furniture together, but which definitely would be easier with two people doing it, not one person. You're like, just the irony of like, it's so hard with one person, and
Right, right.
like crying, like putting IKEA furniture together, listening to Bruce Springsteen's Tunnel of Love, and there's like the primers on the one. I got to do another coat of paint, and like I don't know, just trying to capture that feeling of
That's a good visual.
yeah.
Sure.
You gotta move on. It's like it sucks, but you gotta like you gotta go through these steps of like rebuilding your life, and so that's kind of what that one's about. So that has a special meaning or special feeling for me. So those two really stand out. But I like them all. I actually do like
Yeah.
them all.
They're all great.
Yeah.
Do you want to like? I know it's not out yet, but do you want to listen to any snippets and like tell us about?
Oh,
Because
sure.
I don't know. I'm just suggesting it. I don't know if this is going to work or not. Can you hear it?
Yeah, I heard it.
You can hear it. All right, perfect. It's probably not. I don't know if it's going to let me. All right, let's see. Why won't it go back?
Is it the disco app? Oh.
Yeah. Yeah, won't give away too much. It's really good. It's really fun.
Thanks.
It's like great, like summer, catchy, like upbeat thing. It makes more sense that it's like half drunk rather than a botched circumcision.
I mean, that's the thing about art. Once you put it out there,
It means something different for everybody.
yeah, it's really not up to me what it's about.
It's not yours anymore.
It's not, and it's a circumcision tune, failed circumcision tune.
There aren't many circumcision tunes out there,
Not that I know of.
so everyone needs to be represented, I think.
I think so too.
So now, all right.
Yeah.
What songs were you choosing to be the three first singles?
So the first three are going to be Half Cut, which you just played a little bit, which I also have to say features Emily Jackson, my girlfriend. She sang a lot of background vocals on the record, and like
Great.
you can really hear it on that. And then Hondo Civic, she like just like laid up like a ton of harmonies that I think are really cool. So
Love that.
So Half Cut, and then Hondo Civic will be second,
Okay.
and then Help Me, and then the record. So
Okay.
just those three. I mean, I would have done more, but talking to like PR people, they were kind of like, listen, people are going to get really tired of you in this setting, like a journalistic setting. Not so much like a social media or that kind of thing, but like as far as like pushing the narrative.
What do you mean though, journalistic setting? Like I don't get
like if you're like reaching out to blogs and news outlets and that kind of thing, they were saying it's like, this is what they said, that it's you don't want to kind of like outwear your welcome sort of.
Outstay your welcome. Yeah. They're like, okay,
Yeah.
we get it. You have songs.
Right. Yeah. Okay, cool. Thanks. So like the power of that is really in, kind of hitting them right away with the stuff. So I did struggle with what to do for a long time of like, do I just do, like you were saying, like each song and see what I could build there. But because I did the PR route, but I think after the record's out, I don't know, like, you think you could do this? I'll just kind of like highlight the songs and like make visual components for each one.
That's the smart thing to do, I think, because I think they all need their own. Like once you have a visual component for a song, then that's its own piece of content and its own thing. It doesn't just live on the, on Spotify.
Right.
That's the only place it lives. You have to like take chunks out of the bigger piece of art, and put it out in different things.
Right. Like I could be totally misguided, but I feel like that's okay to do that, right? Like it's out, the record's out, but here's this song, and and still
but I
kind
also
of like
don't. So I have a different opinion. Like I hear what you're saying about the release, and you've made your decision. I'm not trying to change your mind. It's just the way that I see it. So if you're doing PR and stuff, obviously you're only going to do it for a certain period of time, because if you have, was it 10 songs or 12 songs?
10.
10 songs. So if you do, you're not going to pay a PR firm for 10 months
Right.
for an entire record. It doesn't make any fiscal sense.
No.
And I think it's a great move to do it for 3 singles, but try to grab people from that PR push and bring them into what you're doing to get out the rest of the album, make them excited about hearing what's next on the album. Because you have plenty of material here that will keep people excited for the next thing. Like I'll play the next These Days. Chicken Parmesan.
Some heavy Parmesan, dude.
This one's the one with the super Tame Impala vibe.
Yeah.
And it also, is it cool if I talk over it?
Yeah, definitely.
It, like, you have such a relaxed vocal, like a relaxed sound to your voice, which is like really nice. It's like, it's a lot different than most other things that are out right now, where everything is like affected and like crazy and whatever. This is very beachy, super chill, cool sound. Like it's really cool.
That's Kirk on that guitar solo. It's like so good.
It's great. I don't want to like give away too much, but this was one of my favorites on the album. But
cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, I have ideas for like visually what to do with that one, of like definitely beachy surf. Like one thing that I want to do with all of these tunes is I just want to like take old surf videos and edit them and make clips of like the songs with these like old surf videos. And that one for sure, I bought some like surf DVDs of people surfing in like the 50s and just like slow-mo stuff. And I'm like, that would be really, so I'm going to make some of that stuff. But
I can see like, the photo, the photo on the cover art of the first tune of Half Cut. I can see like a slow-mo of you walking with your surfboard with like the water suit. What do you call it? Why can't I think of the name of it?
Wetsuit.
With the wetsuit, just like kind of half down in slow-mo, maybe like a super grainy video with like the like lyrics going over, do it like a lyric video, just you walking around, and then cut in those shots of like the old school surfing. That'd be fucking rad. That'd be cool.
Yeah, definitely. I think, I mean, you're right on the money. That's, I've had that thought a lot, like Super 8 looking video.
Yes.
And trying to capture that kind of, I don't know, like the Wonder Years intro, but surfing. And
totally. Because that's kind of your vibe anyway. Like you got the hat, the shirt, and everything. Like that's your thing. You're not going outside. You're not pretending to be something else, which I think is also important. When the music matches the person, it's like, and then the visuals also match, and it all makes sense. It works together. Like that's magic. That's sick.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, dude. And then help me. Who took the photos here?
Is it, which photo is it? Sorry, is it
so this is the one where you're sitting in front of a green building?
Oh, green wall. Okay, yeah,
that's
this guy. That one is the half cut one with the surfboard. That was Emily. We were on. We went to Puerto Rico for the first 2 weeks of January, and we've been going like the last few years, and just going and just getting out of the city for like a week or so.
Right.
And it's awesome. It's very nice. And so she snapped a lot of cool shots on that trip. And then the green wall one is this guy Kevin Condon, who is an amazing concert photographer
Mm.
on social media. It's Weird Hours, and he works with tons of bands. He's incredible, and I've used him all the time. He'll come to some gigs, and so he's great. And so we did like a promo day and just like walked around for an afternoon, and he just snapped a bunch of pics.
Yeah, I love it. It's very vibey, very cool. Cool editing on
Thanks.
it too. All right, let's listen to "Help Me," since you
Oh,
talked
cool.
about that. And did you say that this one is going to be a single?
This will be the third single.
The third single.
Like,
It's like this
yeah,
has to be one of them because
right.
It's good. Can even do fade-ins too. I'm like a DJ.
Yeah, dude, you're killing it.
I love how it gets right into it too. You're not messing around.
Yeah, a big part with all these songs was like, our big inspiration was like Tom Petty.
For sure.
Like,
don't bore us, get to the chorus.
Exactly. I feel like this is kind of Petty-esque.
Turn this one up.
Yeah, we were like one of the influences for Abe and I was Tom Petty, but also ELO, like Jeff Lynne.
Oh, sure, yeah.
Style, like production, especially like, some of that 70s ELO stuff, and trying to like make the synths like slick and lush, and have everything be like pretty concise, with the groove and with the just the feeling of it, like have a kind of a slick lush 70s sound, and then
have it all
kind
match
of
up.
Yeah, and kind of pulling in from like a Petty influence of like, here's the song, where there's not too much filler. I feel like on the record it's all pretty like, let's just get to it.
Yeah, and it's all, like I said, it's all super listenable. It's all like appropriate. There's very musical choices in there, but it's also like very digestible, which I think is like the best way to be as an artist. Make yourself like make people want to listen to it.
Well, I do want people to like it.
Yeah,
for sure.
No, but you know what I mean, though. There's sometimes like people will put something in there like just to do it.
I think I used to do that a lot too.
Really?
And like the first, I mean, I was in a band when I was in high school and college. It was like, when I joined, it was it was just like a punk band.
Sure.
And then it became a ska band. And then it became like a prog band.
Sure.
And unfortunately, my influence was of like making it more proggy, and like,
yeah.
And when I listen back to some of the stuff, it's really cool, and I'm really proud of what we did. But I realized like I was just trying to like put on these, like, maybe I was like a little bit more into other stuff, and like trying to like superimpose those musical tastes on something that, like, the guy Josh Lapergola, who is the songwriter primarily, wrote these great songs, and I would try to like, let's make it weird, and let's do this and that. And so I think it's taken me a long time to go through
just
different
pick your spots.
Yeah, exactly. And not do it just to do it, which is what I think I used to do.
Right. Which everybody goes through that. Like, as a drummer, I used to overplay the shit out of the drum. Like, way too much. Not musical at all. Not for the song. Piss off lead singers and stuff. It's just and then you learn over time. It's like, oh, it's not about me. It's about the songs.
Was there a moment for you where you like realized with drumming for yourself, like, oh, I gotta just like support this? Was there like
chill. Oh yeah. So I went to Berkeley. That's how I know Greg Teves.
Right.
And I had a drum teacher. It was like, I think my second year there. I was still playing like an asshole, and I had this dude, Jackie Santos, who would play. I think he played in like Toto and stuff.
Oh, wow.
yeah, like maybe filled in or he was a dude. And my first lesson with him, the whole semester was a disaster because he was never there. he was
Right.
like
One of
he was
those.
Yeah, he was out like playing gigs and stuff, and he would be there every now and then. But my first lesson with him, I learned so much in that lesson. It was just about reading this chart, um, and supporting the music. And he told me what my strengths were. He told me what my weaknesses were,
That's awesome.
just from this like hour of me
That's
sitting there
incredible.
playing like a couple of grooves. And he's like, I know that you want to like go out and do more stuff, but what you're sitting in, you have to learn to sit in it. You have to learn um to just accept what you're doing, and not, but like take your ego out of it, because like I had, like any musician, a lot of drummers, big egos, big personalities. Same thing with singers. It's like I would clash with singers like that, and just like, it was hard. It was hard. And once I had that lesson, I kind of got out of my own way, changed my attitude about drums, started listening to different drummers, started listening to people like Steve Jordan, Questlove, people like that, and Levon Helm, doing the singing thing and all that. And it completely changed my perception of drums, and
Wow.
how it worked just from that one lesson. And
That's amazing.
every musician has to go through that, I think, at some point. Guitarists with like, pushing the strings down too hard on the neck, or like not making conscious choices with their um with the way that they play their notes and stuff like that, and just kind of doing licks or whatever, like making conscious choices and actually supporting things, is like, when you can get to that point, you're in a good spot.
Yeah, it does take a long time though. My moment was actually a drummer, was Keith Carlock. I'm
Yeah,
sure every I
one
feel
of
like every drummer loves him, and with
the
good
greatest.
reason. He came to my college and did a master class. Maybe I told you the story, but
I don't think you did.
he just, and I would always go. I would love going to the drummer master classes because, like, I love drummers. It's like, as a bass player, that's
Right.
really the thing I love the most. And he came in and just had his drum set up, and he was like, I don't really know what to do, so like I'm just gonna play, and then if you guys have questions, we can go from there, if that's cool. And he just played like the first drum beat you ever learn, which is
Yeah.
like, and he did that for 5 minutes, and
Yeah.
it changed my life because it was the coolest, best thing I'd ever seen.
Yeah.
And I just, that moment like stuck with me, and it still sticks with me, of like, that was the coolest, best sounding thing I had ever heard. And it was simple, and it sounded great, and the time was great, and the feel was great. And I was like, that, because I think maybe it was the week before, the week after, Dave Weckl came.
Mm.
And I did not enjoy his master class as much. And I mean, dude's unbelievably good
Right.
at the drums. He's a freak. But like, it was like all this stuff he was doing, all this crazy. Like, I'm playing 7 on this hand, 5 on this hand. It was wild. And I just found myself thinking about Keith Carlock the whole time. So
Yeah.
that was kind of the thing for me, and tried to put that in with the bass. I also had this gig one time. I was playing. I mean, this is years later. I was playing in New York, and there's this band I've been playing with still. I call it my dad rock band, because we just like get together every 6 months, don't rehearse, and play a gig, and everyone gets drunk. But
Sounds great.
it's great. I love it. It's called Goodbye Picasso. And we were outside after one of the gigs, and this random dude came up to me, and he just goes, he's like, I think he was British. He's like, "You're a great bass player." I was like, "Oh, thanks." He's like, "Play less."
Yeah.
And I was like, "What the?" I was all, "Who
All
the
but
fuck?"
heard
And
about
then,
it.
yeah, and then I thought about it. I was like, "Man, if that guy just said that to me randomly, there's got to be some truth in that." And
Sure.
I started playing less. It's like, yeah, support the song.
Yeah,
Don't
spot the
make it.
song, pick your spots. I'm looking for one of so I do a newsletter every week that comes out on Sundays, and it's all like, little snippets of music news and my opinions on certain things. And I wrote something about one of my experiences with one of the professors at Berkeley, one of the drum professors named Sean Skeet, and he's an unbelievable drummer. And I'm going to send it to you.
Okay.
It's all about how he went into a practice room and just sat in there, and it was one of the practice rooms that has like a bunch of drum sets, so they would do drum
Masterclasses
not
or
master
group
classes.
lessons.
Yeah, it's like lessons but with a bunch of drummers. So
Got it.
um I'm losing my train of thought on what they actually call them, but they he went in there and just sat behind one of the drum kits, took out a pair of sticks, and just started playing this kind of like, James Brown Cold Sweat groove, for, like literally 20 minutes, just the same groove for 20 minutes. And it started as like me and one other kid watching him, and then by the end of the 20 minutes, the entire hallway was filled with musicians, like kids, just watching him, completely mesmerized and
Wow.
like entertained the whole time.
Yeah.
At first you're like, why is he just playing the same thing over and over again? And then by the end of it, you're all just like drooling because it's so good. And yeah, it was,
Gives me goosebumps.
yeah, that was like also another one of those moments where you're like, oh man, that that's kind of what it's all about.
Yeah.
Um, you might have to subscribe to read it, but it's free.
Did you,
So
did you email it to me, or did
I
you?
just I just texted it to you.
Okay. So
Um,
I think
yeah, it's rad.
okay. I think I get your.
Oh,
Sorry.
you might, yeah,
I think I'm on, I
you
think
might
I'm on
already
your
do.
mailing list.
There you go.
Yeah. Here we go.
While you're looking at that, let's cue up dotted lines here.
Oh, okay.
What's your least favorite song on it?
Good cue.
Yeah.
Um.
I like that. That's a nice chord choice.
Thanks.
This is just cool guy music. It's just so cool.
Thanks, man. Emily definitely helped with this one quite a bit.
Yeah, it's really good. Yeah, it's
That's
nice.
this is my like do you give up playing music song, which
Really?
I feel like, yeah, I feel like there's a few of those on here.
Yeah. You have that feeling? You want to give it up?
I mean, it's like it is very difficult, as you know, and
Like, what's your goal? What does success in music look like for you?
I don't know. It's changed a lot over the years. I think for a while I was doing exactly what I wanted to be doing, which was touring pretty much full time and doing my thing and doing gigs at home when I was in town. And that was great. And I think for me, it would be some kind of combination of working with other artists and touring, and then having my thing be some kind of like a somewhat sustainable practice, so like it's not just like a loss all the time. And I don't know, I would just love to be able to like be consistently creative on my own or with other people. I love recording. Like I love being in the studio. I love writing. And Emily and I have started doing more like commercial stuff. Like,
Oh, great.
yeah, which has been really fun. We actually have been doing that for a little while now. It's sort of how we met. Um, but yeah, I would love to kind of have my hand in a few different things and have that be um, enough
Mhm.
to like live, not extravagantly, but like comfortably, I guess.
Right.
Um, so I don't know. It's funny with like the casual mail thing. Like, I feel like I kind of started off where you did with your song of like, I just want to put something out.
Mhm.
And that's where it started, is like, I, I was playing with a lot of other people and I had this feeling of like, I have to make something of my own because I've never done it and I just need to see what happens. And so the first EP I put out was really, I just wanted to like try it. And
Right.
I wanted to play one gig and just see how it goes. And I was like, that'll be enough. And then I did the gig and it was like, you get that high,
Right. It's
you
like
know,
that went pretty well.
that went well. People liked that. And, like as a bass player, I'm really have just been a bass player forever and I've played with, I don't know, thousands of bands, and getting to experience being the main person, it is a different feeling for sure.
Yep.
And it's a little bit of a drug. And so I did that show. I was like, oh, okay, maybe I want to try more. And the project has kind of just like stepped up a little bit at a time. And then I've kind of gotten to do all the things I wanted to do, which I got to do a tour. I did like an opening tour for this band, Gang of Youths,
Mhm.
for like, and that was like a boombox thing. And Emily joined me for that for a bit, and did that for like 3 weeks. That was a dream, literal dream come true. And the funny thing is, sometimes when you meet these things, you're like, I did the thing I always wanted to do. Then you're like,
Now
now what
what?
do I do? Yeah, exactly. So I don't know. That's a long-winded answer to your question. I
Well,
mean,
it's hard. A lot of people
yeah,
don't have, a lot of artists don't have an answer to that question. They don't really know what it means for them to be successful. They don't know what it means. Like they just, there's a lot of expectations of what's going to happen when they release their music. And then if it doesn't go the way that they want, so it's like, you have to have, you have to have like attainable goals. Like for you, it's like, you have a marketing PR thing. If you can make a couple relationships with people that that will ultimately become friends and help you in your career going forward, that's a win.
yeah,
It's not even really 100% about the music at that point. And then if you want to get on other tours and stuff, it's like, okay, what do we have to do to make that happen? Yeah, I have a little heat behind my record. I have some PR, so let's try to focus that energy into getting on somebody's, find out who your favorite band that you want to tour with, who their booking agent is, who their manager is, and try to do everything you can to create a relationship there. So it's like those are the kinds of things. And for me, like I had the same situation, same exact thing. I released the music, and people, I was like, "Oh, people actually like this. Like, should I
yeah.
be
Do
playing
more.
shows? Should I be do like, is this something I should be doing?" And I still kind of struggle with that because I don't really know what it means. I'm still terrified to put on my own show at like a real venue. I've never done it, but I know it's something that I would like to, like, I visualize it, I'm like, I like it. I like the idea of
Yeah,
it.
you should do it.
I would
Have
love
you?
to.
I mean, you play live all the
Y-
time.
I do. But the thing is, the things that I do are very, very low stakes, low impact. Like, it's a lot of covers. I play restaurants and bars and stuff. It's like half the people aren't even listening. It's very much an opportunity for me to kind of work up some chops, like guitar playing chops, because it's very singer songwritery. It's like, a lot of
Yeah,
open chords and stuff, but it's my voice. It's
yeah.
more about my voice than it is about me as a player. I would love
Wait.
to start playing with other people. I think
Hmm.
that would be really great to make things more interesting,
Yeah.
but
What?
other than that, that's kind of where I'm at.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you got a great voice and you're a great
Thanks, man.
guitar player. So like,
I'm an okay
I,
guitar player.
I think you're pretty good.
Thanks, man.
You have a great voice. So
Thanks,
I
dude.
think you're right. Like, you should do it. I mean, it's like, it is that thing though. Once you start to raise the stakes a little bit, it gets a little scary.
Yeah.
And
It's like, oh,
that's
where
one
do I
big,
go from here?
well, yeah. And like one thing I've been struggling with even like starting to put this record together and like talking to PR and like trying to do interviews and stuff, like I you know, I think of myself as a bass player first, and I think bass players have a certain kind of vibe, like a bit of a self-deprecating,
Sure.
like who gives a who gives a
Yeah, yeah,
shit
yeah.
kind of attitude, and it works really well as a band member. But when you know it's not so cool when you're the lead person and people are like, why should you care? And you're like, you don't have to care. And then like people take you literally at your word and like, he doesn't care,
That's a great
And
point.
so it's this fine line that I have been struggling with and trying to be more conscious of how I present myself, of being like, no, this is really good. I really believe in this, and not be like, you can listen to it. You don't have to listen to it. Like,
Yeah.
and it's hard. It's really hard.
Right.
And
Having
you have
that
to kind of
confidence.
that confidence, and also to like take ownership of what you're doing. And, I think even with you, you're like, you're doing it, you're putting some songs out, and then to then have to go to the point where you're like, I'm going to email the band and like set up a rehearsal date and like these little things, and I'm gonna like tell this person, actually no, I don't want you to do it like that, I want you to do it like
Hmm.
this. And you start to have to become the person in charge, and it's a different hat, and you
Right.
have to kind of be confident in that and take yourself seriously, and that's not something I do naturally. So that has been an adjustment, and I'm trying to like be conscious of the fact that people will, if you're not kind of selling it, no one's gonna tune in. So
Right. And I think the nice thing
uh,
about coming from where you're coming from, wearing that hat and trying to be more the leader and of a group of people, and not like craving that power and that, I think uh, that is noticed from your bandmates, and that, like, oh, this might be difficult for Tim, and he's being nice about this, and trying to work with us rather than be like, do this. I
yeah,
don't know
very,
how you are in private. You could be a
maybe
total asshole.
I was kind of a piece of poop, but like
Piece of work.
he's this guy. But yeah, definitely trying to be like very accommodating to the other players and other musicians, and but I don't know if you've had this experience like playing drums for people, and some people are just so, it's like this fine line between like extreme self-doubt and extreme like narcissism,
Yeah. Yeah,
that you
I have had
that
that.
and you have to cut, and like a lot of people are on that fine line that are successful or like have a thing going, because honestly you have to be, to
Uh-huh.
like to want people to care. You have to be like, I'm great. And god, that's really a weird thing to say, so.
Totally. I was just I did a podcast that will be coming out in the future about with Patrick Murphy, who's the lead singer of the band Gaelic Storm. It's like a big Irish band.
Oh,
And
cool.
yeah, and he he mentioned this thing. He was like, he has a big, Irish accent that I'm not going to do.
Sure.
And and he's talking about a band that he saw, some random band. He's like, they were so talented, they were so great, but they were boring as fuck. Like, it's like, you can be the most talented person in the world, but you have to entertain. You have
Yeah.
to entertain. And the between song banter and the confidence and the walking around, that's all part of being that, having that entertainer factor. And when he said that to me, I was like, man, I'm the dude that people go to watch and they say, wow, he has a great voice. He can sing his ass off and he's good at guitar, whatever. But I'm boring as fuck when it comes to like between the songs. Like when I'm playing that show, I'm very much like, I just got to get through this, kind of thing. And because it's not my show, but I feel like it would be different if I put on a real show in a real venue and like actually have to engage. People are quiet, people are listening. Like I think I do well in that situation. But right now I'm really thinking about it constantly. I'm like, oh my God, I'm playing the songs, but am I like really entertaining people right now? I need to do that because
I do think those are different hats.
For sure. For sure. He's a
Like,
lead singer. He's an Irish dude. He's got all the confidence and all of the charm in the world. So it's very easy for him. So
must be nice. But I think, when you are in the situation of doing your own thing, you will find that entertainment aspect of like, especially banter stuff, because it's a different playing like background.
Right.
People want you to disappear, and like
Mm-hmm.
when it's your thing, it's like you have the mic, you're the guy. And I think
and I can kick them out if they're talking.
Exactly. You could
great.
throw a little fit on stage. You could make a little scene, and that's entertaining. People love that. Just have a meltdown. You know what I mean?
Complete, total meltdown.
Complete and absolute meltdown. I'm gonna try that the next one. Just like cry.
Come on.
Why don't you like this? No, it's important. Banter is important. I feel very strongly about my banter. I feel like it's actually better than the show. not the band, but my songwriting. Probably the banter might be the better part. So you got to see that live. But that was when I was doing that Gang of Youths tour. I did the boombox thing, but I was running tracks off a computer because I wanted to be able to start and stop when I wanted. Because usually when I do it, I just make a cassette and just play it. And then like, I don't know, I might put 10 seconds between a song. I might put 5, I forget. And it was really, I did one gig like that on that tour, and it was really hard. It was the worst gig of the tour for me because I wasn't able to build a rapport with the audience, because I'd be like, hey, what's going on? And then like the next song's like, ah, shit, And I found that for me, like how I kind of won the crowd over, if I did, was through kind of talking to them and then like get them on my side a little bit. And then, hopefully the music's good enough that they like that too. But I think you're right. You got to entertain. You got to, I don't know, people want to root for you, hopefully. And especially when you're doing solo stuff and you're like putting yourself out there. I think for a while, it's crazy,
it's crazy. It's insane.
It's insane. And that's, again, why you got to be a little off.
You got to be a little nutso. So I'm going to let you pick one more song that we can all listen to, something that you want people to hear a little bit of that maybe won't be out in a little bit, for a little bit, or if you want to do Hondo, because
it's a little Hondo.
Is there a different one that you want to pick? You don't have to do Hondo. I just told you to pick and then I picked for you. I'm an idiot.
No, you're not. Well then let's do a little bit of I'm Right Here.
I'm Right Here.
Which is track 9, I believe. And
there we go. Cool.
This like this was another one where like I did it like at the beach.
Okay.
And I think this one I wrote at like 2 a.m. and like sang those like screaming those chorus parts like as loud as I could at 2 a.m. and it was just like this like weird little bundled up emotional grease ball that I kind of spat out, and it was like a very cathartic experience to like get this one out.
Yeah, it's cool. I love how it was at the bar 2 or something that just kind of propels
here's
you
like
into the next part.
It's kind of an example of that thing we're talking about of like,
right, but where it makes sense.
But I feel like it does make sense.
No, it totally does, 100%. Because like if you were to not do that, then you're just sitting in da 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 da. You know, it gets you right back into, you know, it propels it forward.
Something like a little just, you know, I found like with songwriting sometimes you know, like there's so many great songwriters who can just take 3 chords and make a great song out of it. And for me, that was always really hard to do. And so I would kind of use time a lot as a thing to kind of make it a little different, like odd times here or there. And sometimes they were forced upon the song, and sometimes it was the thing that made it unique or cool. And I feel like I feel like I've gotten better at being able to incorporate that stuff without it being like, oh, you're just trying to be heady or something.
Right. Yeah, it's rad. I mean, the whole thing it's like really cohesive. So I don't know if that's just kind of taking all that time and working on it like that and really making the conscious effort of doing that, or whatever, but the whole thing is rad. I love it. It's
Thanks.
great.
Thanks, Jesse. I really appreciate that. Thanks
course.
for
yeah, absolutely.
listening.
Do you have so tell us when the album release show is going to be, and tell us when the singles are going to be out.
So first single is Half Cut, which was the first one you played, will be out July 10th. And we're doing a gig at Union Pool on the 10th. So kind of like thing. And then the next Hondo comes out August 12th, I think. Maybe that's the week after, like the 17th.
Okay.
And then the full record comes out October 4th. And Help Me will come out, I guess, the 27th, the week before that.
Awesome, dude. Well, I can't wait, man. It's going to be
Thanks.
It's going to be awesome. I know it's going to be I'm going on fall tour in late September and October, so I know it's going to be played up in the cab of the rig.
Awesome.
Dude. All right.
Hey, thanks.
I'm going to get out of here. It was great to see you. Thank you.
You too, Jesse. Thank you.
All right. See you, dude.
See you, brother.
That was my conversation with the great Tim Lappin. Please check out his album. It's going to be coming out. He has singles coming out. He has Half Cut coming out on July 10th. His record release is going to be on October 9th. The song Hondo is out on August 12th. The full record is going to be out on October 4th. So make sure you check out Casual Mail. Follow him on Spotify. Do all the stuff. Tim is a fantastic songwriter. His band is sick, and you're gonna love it. And this album, in particular, I know it's gonna be one of my favorites in constant rotation. So make sure that you do the same. Other than that, After the Gig is on Patreon, patreon.com/afterthegig. Check out the tier levels there. That's your perfect way to get behind the scenes, exclusive content for After the Gig, and also support the podcast. And I have a free weekly newsletter that comes out on Sundays at 10 a.m. There's little tidbits about music and music news and different opinion pieces and experiences that I've had throughout the weeks and all that stuff. So check that out. It's free to subscribe. It's in the link below. And make sure that you sign up for that. And that's it. I'll see you guys next week, and have a great weekend. Goodbye.